Hey, this is Brother Chad, G.C.B, Gangster Custom Builds. I'm at work this morning. I got a 2012 Chevy Impala I bought a few months back. Whole passenger side is all damaged up. I done some work to it. But I'm going to show you how to remove a dent on the door of this car. Now it's down below, so you know it will hold. But on these newer cars, if it's like midway, there's no way to fix the dent. The stuff will just break and fall apart. Now this back corner here was completely damaged. I have a 2011. I cut all that out, welded in the new section. That dent right here, that's what we're gonna be fixing on the door. You know, the fender's all damaged and everything. I'm gonna use my stud gun here. You know, because back in the day we used to have to drill some holes, but now this will weld this to the metal. And you gotta be cautious because you know this new metal is thin, really thin. I'm gonna be using this. Turn the focus. It's fiberglass resin jelly. This stuff will get hard as concrete. You can get it on Amazon. I don't see a part number anywhere. There's a SKU. Fiberglass resin jelly. And this is the stuff I use, and I use this on everything. Now the reason why I'm using the stud gun, I'm going to show you. See that big old gap there? You know, that's a lot to fill in, so I got to bring that out a little bit. I'm using sanding blocks, but for years I used wood, and I still use wood till this day. So this way to get a nice clean mark, and you still have, you know, you see that you still have your lines. Like, I don't know if you can see it on the back. This is just some cheap primer just so it won't rust. But that body line is right perfect. And I'm using, I gotta get the paint off this. And I'm only gonna get the paint off like in this section of the area. Again, it's thin metal, it heats up really quick and it will warp. But I got sanding marks here and here, so that's like the wideness I'm gonna do my filler in. So I'm gonna sand it until that's straight metal on both sides, you know, and then same thing with the top here. Now if this dent was up here, you'd have to replace the door, because I tried in the past on my personal stuff and it just didn't hold, because you know the metal flexes. Down here it's stiff because the groove is at the bottom of the door, ain't gonna stiff. So enough talking, I'm gonna get the camera set up and we're gonna start getting this to work. Let's get it going. See, there's a crease right here too. But I'm gonna try and pull it out here a little bit to see what happens with this crease. Hoping I don't gotta pull off the door panel, but because it's hit right here in the main, that's why I got the crease there. Like I said, back in the day, we used to drill holes, put a screw in it and yank it out, and then we got that nasty hole. And back then, you know, welders were too expensive. This was too expensive. So now this is available to us little people now. So just push it on. That good metal. Take this. If you pull it too far out, you can always tap it back in. See how that came out? That's what I wanted. I mean, it came right out. So I'm gonna do another one right here. I'm not trying to pull the dent fully out. I'm trying to pull it out so I don't have that big old dip where I gotta use tons of the filler in it. Break that off. Make it. I don't think it's done real good. See, in the minute I pushed on it, you know, the dent comes back. It's starting to take shape, and that's what you want. Sometimes you gotta use a grinder or something, you know, or a pair of pliers, which I should have had a pair, but see, that's why you can't fix up here. Like I said, by the time I'm done, this crease will be back. This crease is what gives the door strength, so don't do that. So, next step, I'm gonna try and get right here. Oh, it would help if I plugged it in. Alright, let's try this again. I'm going to take my block and see. And yeah, I'm going to show you the dent. Now, at the beginning of the video, I showed you how bad it was. And this is all I'm going to try and do. See how thin that dent is now? I mean, it looks worse on camera, but I mean, it's not a big old dent anymore. Because see, it's nice and smooth there. And as you come up, and I can't get it level because the stud's still there. But that's a smaller dent now. Like I said, it looks worse on camera. But see the difference in it? So now I'm gonna pull that off. And then I'm gonna sand. I got a little hole here, which that ain't nothing, you know. The jelly will wrap itself right in there so perfect. So, alright. I really don't gotta use the big sanding block. I could use the small one because now it's not as wide. I'm gonna start out with the big one because I wanna know exactly where it's gonna hit metal on both sides. Most of the time you go like this, you know, but because I'm using a real long one, I'm gonna go back and forth first. But now when I fill it, I'm only gonna go like this and a little bit like that. So right now I need each side down to metal so I can see exactly where the dips are. Using 40 grit. Alright, most of you folks are probably wondering, oh, I just hit it with the DA. Let me zoom it in. Alright, see how it's showing the metal? So you can see a low spot there, and as you come, you see another low spot there. So the bottom of the door is a little more damaged than it apparently looked, and that's why I'm using the block first to find the low spots. So I'm gonna expose the metal first. Well, like I said, it's not an easy job, but if you do the steps right, it'll come out perfect. And you can do it yourself for, by the time you buy sand, paving paper and everything, you might have 50 bucks in it, you know. So you just take your time and just keep doing it. And see how this is coming shinier? I know that's a high spot, you know, so that's why I switched to small block. But you can see how this is all scratched up, ripped. You know, I ripped the paint apart. That's why I use 40 grit. But you can see the original paint here. You can see the original paint here. So from looking at it, the dent's a little worse than in the beginning. But a little filler here, a little filler there, I mean, it ain't gonna be a big issue. Now, I'm using a small block to see here because it's riding on that and that, as you can tell, you know, and it's showing where the low spots really are going to be. Alright, pretty much got everything. So now I know exactly where I gotta go. These few spots here. So I'm gonna hit it with the die grinder, get it down to the paint, and scuff that back up again so there's stuff for that glass to hold on to. But I think I'm gonna sand a little bit more. Now when you're doing stuff like this, you gotta go past the dent, because you don't want to just concentrate where the dent is, because you want to go past the dent so as you're sanding, it's gonna come out perfect. And you know, the metal's all gouged up with that grinder sandpaper, and but the edges, basically you're gonna sand it back right off, you know. But you want to go past it, so this way you got plenty of raw material for that stuff to actually adhere itself to it. So, Alright, I'm gonna mix up the resin now. And the more of this stuff you add to hardener, the faster it will set. So if you got a big area, you don't want to use a whole lot. You just want it to start changing color. I'm gonna save you guys on a bunch of money. See this old pizza box here? Store-bought pizza. It has a film on it. Now, I bought any type of mixing board that you could think of, man, but you always had to clean them. You always had to, sand them down and re-clean them and coat them, and it's just a bunch of headaches. So I started saving my pizza boxes. Now, you can't use plain cardboard because that would just soak up the liquid from the whatever you're mixing and dry it up faster. This here has a coat. There's no, don't soak nothing up. I got boxes upon boxes of these. This is all I use, or any piece of cardboard whatever I buy, and it has this shiny film on it. I save them, and that's what I use to mix my stuff up. When you buy these cans, and if it's not something you're gonna use all the time, you store them upside down. So this way, all the stuff inside will come to the bottom of the can and seal it so no air will get inside of it. And then when you're ready to use it again, you pop it open, and worst case scenario, you just have it stuck to that, and then you just scrape it off, and it's still good to use. This stuff here is a little thicker. This ain't the brand I normally use, but this is all I can get right now. And if I wanted to thin it out, like the good brand, see, that's really thick. But now the good brand, there's more liquid, but I can take liquid fiberglass resin, mix it in with this, loosen it up. But that's when I need to use it for big areas. But that's a video for another time. So I'm just gonna take it, scoop it up, and you're gonna want to make sure you got more than what you need. Yeah, you're gonna waste a lot of it, but it beats waiting for it to dry and then have to go back and add more. I mean, you already got to use, after this stuff, you still got to use filler, you still got to use spot putty, so you want to try and get it in one shot. You always mix up more than what you need. Like this right here should be plenty, but I want a little bit more. I want to make sure, because I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to add a lot of hardener in it. It's called it's going to be a hot mix, basically, where it this stuff will heat up faster and dry faster, because I got to fill in this dip right here. So I don't want it to run down on me or any of that. And I like the blue stuff better than the red stuff, because you can, I don't know, it's just something I've been using for years. And that's the same thing with your hardener. You never store it like that, because then it creates water and everything, because air can still get in there. It ain't gonna harden on you, but then you got that water, and it is a pain in the butt. You store it standing upright. So let me see how this mixes up. And I use multiple colors now, because when you sand it, before you prime it, you should have, 3-4 colors showing. See, I want more. That's not going to be a hot enough mix for me. And so I want a nice hot mix, so this way it dries really fast. I mean, it's going to take about an hour or two to dry fully, but it will start drying immediately where it sticks. You want to try and get the biggest widest thing you can get. You know, I'm gonna push in here, but then I'm gonna go easy on the outside. See, right here is where the dip's at, so I wanna push it in real good. And it's okay to put more on than what you think you're gonna need, because you're gonna sand, I wanna say about 80% of this. And you wanna make sure you build up that lip. Now, because I know I got a dip there too, I wanna make sure that that's built up. So I'm gonna start with the groove right here. And I'm just gonna go softly around it where there's gonna be a bubble right there. Same thing, top part. I'll start here. Just come, and at the edges is where I thin it out at, where I know I'm not gonna need it. See, because this one's awkward, I can't just go up like this. You know, normally you just go up like that. But because it's an awkward setup, you know, like it's already getting hard on me. And all you do is scrape this off. You can see how it's getting hard. I mean, it's not fine anymore. It's turning into chunks now. But this is what they call a hot mix, when you add more than what you need. But I had a dip I had to fix. But yeah, see, it's already starting to turn form. And like I said, instead of spending all that money on the boards, this is all you need. And you just ball it up, throw it away. So we're gonna let this harden. And then we'll come back. We'll use the long block, you know, and then we'll see where it needs filler. We got to make sure we have this line coming straight across, but you see how I work all that in after we sand this down. Alright, we're going to start just by going side to side, just short strokes to see where the low spots are. Let that down a little bit, get the bottom. Most of the time I got this up on a lift, but this is if you're doing it at home. So I can tell where my low spot is just by, you know, where it's not grabbing. But that's because I built up the outer edges more. So I'm gonna hit here where I know it's metal to metal to try and get that down. And you always want to ride that line. You don't want to be on it. You want to be at the edge of it. And this stuff is very, very hard to sand. just let you know, but it's the best stuff to use. We'll get the top. Starting to take shape. I'm gonna change my paper. See how I'm working it down to the metal right here. That's gonna be my guide on a lot of this. You know, like, you know it's dipped in here. We know it's dipped in here. But if we can get all this, and here back down to the metal, then we got our shape, and then we take the other glass filler, you know. Because now I can just use that as a guide, Because now it's coming, I can go back and forth. And if you notice, the door's flexing, and this stuff here does not pop off. That's why I use this jelly resin, because it moves with the panel. Just like a door should. See, no cracks, nothing. Normal Bondo would pop right off. See, it's getting there, and then once it's painted, nobody know the difference, because the door is supposed to flex. And you can tell it's a lot of work to get it right. I'm gonna go get another block that I like to use, and then we'll get some more sanded. So I like to use this side, this block too. It's not much big, but you can do a whole lot more with it. It's just long enough. Same wideness as the other ones. And I am soaked already. So it's hot down here in Georgia today. See how I'm slowly working that line, and I'm not going on it. I'm saying just like that. So this part, if this is the line, that part is not going, it's just going above the line, you know. I'm not going like that. I'm standing like that, so this way it's above the line. And you can see the line starting to form. But you see, I have to get down to the metal on that part first. Now I'm gonna move this side, because I'm getting my line on this side, and that's gonna help me guide it better with this. Well, I'm starting here where all the access is, because I know I'm way up here at the metal. I'm gonna start here to get all this build up here to expose the metal on that line. Ooh, man. It's all gonna, I can use the DA, get all of this access stuff, but I'd rather slowly work it in, because all this part is higher than that part right now. And then once I get it all right, I'll use very little filler to finish it off with, and then I go with spot putty. And then I can prime it. You know, I'm just gonna prime with just a cheap spray can primer. But it will work your arms up, that's for sure. Alright, see my lines right here? They both line up now. And you want to try and crisscross, that's important. Like right now I'm going like this, then I'm going to go like this, and then go back like that, then get on that side and go like this. The object of that is so you don't clog up your sandpaper, because your sandpaping paper clog up like that if you just go one direction. See, the line's starting to move. So now I'm gonna get on the top. Now it's coming back. Like I said, almost all this is gonna come off. Like I said, we got a small dip here, but that ain't nothing. Almost ready for some filler. Like I said, this is the worst stuff to try and sand. That's a few more high spots I want to get down. Got my line partially there. Starts up right here, you can slightly see it there. But it always moves when I'm concentrating on one side, so I'm gonna get up here, get this to where I'm happy with it, and then add some filler and let that dry. Got some cloggage. That spot there don't want to come down. Alright, here's a little trick I use sometimes. Like right up on it, it is hard for me to follow this line. Standing back, I can see where it's at. Normally I got the door off the car, it's on a stand, you know, where I can look down on it, but because I'm doing it on the car, this is a little trick you can use, because you already know where your line line is. So you can take a level like so. If I had a good marker. And now you can see your line. It'll help you in the long run. You know, but like I said, standing back there, I can see the line, but when I'm sanding and sweating and everything, it's a little hard to see it. So now I got a reference. I mean, it ain't gonna be perfect because that line should be down a little more, but it's just a reference. It's all it is to help you out on trying to find the location of it. So then you just go back to sanding some more. I'm getting closer. There's a few spots up here I don't like. And then once I get the spots up here, the bottom, I'm happy at the bottom. So I don't have too much bad of dips anywhere. It's kind of smooth and straight all the way across. You know, to verify it, you hold your thing up to it, and I got no gap at all. You know, even right there at the line. You know, but by the time you put spot putty here, spot putty there, I mean not spot putty, I'm sorry, the filler. By the time you get that filled, then you come back and sand a little more, then it will, you can stand back and see the line. Like with me standing back, I can actually see my line and my groove. But I don't like how high that spot is. So I'm gonna hit the top a little more, mainly like right here. That's gonna be the high spot because that's the part that came out the farthest. And as you see, the line's not disappearing because I'm not on it. I'm not on it. See, now it's getting better and better. I knew that was an issue because I'm right there on it and I got a high spot there. But that's gonna be a high spot. It's gonna be up higher until I get everything, the filler in it. Now I know some of you be tempted just to round it off, but you just keep going the same angle, and you keep the pressure on this side. You don't keep pressure on this side because you go and round everything, and you won't float above it. But you can see how my line's coming out beautiful now. I'm happy with that. So this here probably at a body shop, because they'd probably want to replace the door, but it's less work. But some of them will do it this way on a small dent. This probably saved you about a good $1,200, $1,500. You know, that don't include paint. You're probably looking at about a $2,000 fix, and that's why a lot of places would rather just replace the door. But when you don't have the money, it's the best way to do it. And once it's done, you're not even gonna notice. I'm gonna show, we're gonna do this from start to finish. So this way, you can see step by step what it takes. You've seen the before, you're gonna see the after. So I'm gonna get some filler on it and then let it dry. I'm gonna go get the filler. Alright, I got my trusty disposable pizza box. Alright, this one here, it's another Bondo product. It's fast drying. This is filler. Alright, let me explain to you about the filler. People always use filler to do that work, and that's not what filler is for. Filler is to fill in the imperfection and the dips that are still there. That's all filler's for. Alright, once again, I store this can upside down mainly because I dropped and punched a hole in the top. But I had this can here I gotta say for about 6 months. And because I held it upside down, stored it upside down, I mean, this is what I was talking about, because this is softer stuff. Just sticks to the top and then it seals itself. Now you can buy paint sticks. Most of the time I make mine, I break out the table saw. But this stuff here is more softer and more liquider than that. Now I got some light weight filler. But that's like sanding this stuff. It's really hard. You know, this here, I know I don't need a whole lot because I only got, you know, a little bit here, there, here. But I'm gonna skim the whole thing. Because, you know, I'm using 40 grit paper through this whole process and getting the line all straight. See, now I'm gonna use a different color, so this way I can tell when I'm sanding it. Now I normally would break out my air line and break out my, I got a sanding bar that runs off air, and this would have been done 1, 2, 3, you know. I won't be going through all this, but everybody don't have a compressor. Everybody can't afford to pay, you know, $200 for a sanding bar. So that's why I'm showing you this way where anybody can do it. Now I'm gonna start here and go sideways with it, because this stuff is softer. And like I said, I was gonna have chunks in it. I have chunks. You do the same thing on the top, because what I'm doing is trying to keep that groove going. And that's why I didn't sweep my floor yet, because of stuff like that. So now I know I need my groove right here, so I just leave it raised up right there. This stuff's supposed to dry in 15 minutes. But you just slowly work it until it starts to, you feel this stiffen up, because it won't be going on smooth. I'm trying to keep that line. See, like it's stiffening up now. Try to keep the line in there. Now this stuff here, it's all gonna come right back off. You know, you might want to, you might think, well, why would you recover the whole thing? Because I want to make sure everything's covered. And like I said, it's already, because it spitted out the liquid, you know, it's already drying. But this is why I don't sweep my floor when I'm doing body work, because if that got on my painted floor, I'd be scraping it, and then it'd be hard, you know, then I gotta repaint, you know. I gotta redo my floor about every 4 months, you know, because it's epoxy, everything sticks to it. But we're gonna let this stuff dry, and then we'll come back to it. And once again, save yourself money, pizza boxes. Alright, this is finally dry. It's Saturday, day 2. So basically, I'm going to use 40 grit to get this knocked down, and then I'm going to switch to 60 grit, because this is the filler part. So it's the same process. take the small block, work the edges here, because I know that it's going to come straight down to the green. Work out on the arms. Oh, little at a time. I'm going to switch to 60 now. Alright, I'm on 60's not sticky, you know. So I'm just gonna do it like this, you know, right over the 40 grid. And then once I get this fine tuned, then I'll move to my block of wood. Alright, as you can see, my line's going a little crooked. You know, it's coming up, down, and that's why I'm going to switch to this, to the block of wood, so I can work that line back down. See, worked it down because I had all the high spots here, because that's a high spot and that's where it's dipped. But you can see the line came right back. It's a lot of work to do it this way by hand, but this is a do-it-yourself. Repair shop's $1,500 job because they will not do it this way. Me, back in the day, the dent was one hand, that was $100 plus materials. You know, that's how I done it back in the day. Line's nice and straight. Now I'm gonna switch to 120. Switching to 120 now to eliminate some of these scratches. Now, still got deep scratches all around here from the 40 grit, but that's when you take some 120, sand everything around, But the easiest way is that we still got to do the spot filler, the spot putty. But once this is primed, then you can go around and pretty much 120 it, and then you can get some sandable sandpaper, which I'll show you on the back side. But right now I just want to show you this, and then we'll go to the other part. Whole time you're doing it, you always got to watch that line, because sometimes it'll move up. You got to come back on this side to fix it. I can't see it being right up on it. We do like we did yesterday. Identify the line. We'll make sure that our line is still there exact. Still got a garbage marker, but you can see the line is still there. So next step is spot putty. Before you do the spot putty, you want to wipe it all down. Because you don't want dust inside the little creases, because then the spot putty will not stay. See, like all right here is nice and rough, But once you prime this, then you go back and you got to sand it plus wet sand. But like I said, the back corner I got to fix. So I'll show you all that. But see what I'm talking about? Multiple colors. You got metal, green, red. There's tons of steps to this. It might depend on the weather you got. Might take you a day to do it. But all you do, you just push this stuff on. It fills in every little crack, every little chip that you can't see. Now you can really see the line. You can see our line beautiful now. Now once you prime, you will have to go back and spot putty it again. But that's when you prime, and I'll show you how to do the guide coat. And then you really don't want to sand it. Some folks will sand it, but I prefer to wet sand it. And you see, I'll explain that when we get to that point. But I'm gonna let this stuff here dry, because you want to make sure this stuff's nice and dry. Gonna sand it down with 120. All right. We're ready to finish the final step, nice and dry. I'm gonna use the 120, and then I'm gonna use 220, and then wipe it down and prime it. Now you don't want to apply a lot of pressure. You're gonna basically take all this off. Now you can see right here how it didn't touch it. Alright, but you can see how it just fills in all the grooves. You know, that's from the 40 grit. But something like this, you're gonna want to prime it, and then when you sand it down with guide coat, you know, the guide coat, then that's when you want to build that up some more. Because if you keep building it, building it before you put the primer on, you know, it's more and more chance that you get surface rust all on this, you know, wherever the metal's raw. And I don't want to take that chance. So I do know I got a little spot here, which it may work out, but I'm using 220 for the simple fact that will not take away my line. You know, I won't cut it too hard. Sometimes that'll come out, most of the time it won't, because of how deep that is. Now this is the time when I come back and finish up the excess stuff real quick before I prime it. But all I'm using is just some cheap primer. You always gotta read, because this one here is non-sandable primer. So what that means is that you try to sand it with sandpaper, you mess it all up. This is more or less you wet sand, you know, but I don't feel like mixing up primer, you know, until I put the guide coat on and replace that fender. But as you can tell, our lines here, that there is a small dip, and then we got a small dip there. But like I said, I want to get the primer on because it's Saturday. Sunday, Monday I'm off, and I don't want that to rust. It's late in the day, so I'm just going to prime it, and then we'll look at it, and you can see the line's there now. And when it's primed, you see it all match in. Now you don't spray it heavy because you don't want it run. You just mist it, you just keep going back. And you always turn the can upside down. I believe a lot of folks know it, but you give a little spurt, and what that does, that pushes the paint out because it's just air. You got a nice line there, and when you stand off to the side, you can see that line go straight over. And the only part that I see is a little dimple right there. I don't know if you can see it. No. But there's a small little dot right there. Now that dip that was here, you can't really see it. Now because this car is white, I don't even gotta mess with it, because you know, white hides dents, you know. But now on this car, I'm gonna show you how the guy got, you know, spray the guide coat wet sand, so this way you can find the imperfections. Now you really don't need that tool. I didn't feel like pulling off the door panel, but if you take the door panel off and you cut down some wood, you know, you cut down a 2x4, you know, in thin layers, like about an inch thick, and you stick it in there, you can tap it out with a hammer, and they'll do the exact same thing that stug gun did. But I think in materials, because you don't need the big can, if you bought the 2 small cans and a couple packs of sandpaper, you probably have about $60 wrapped up in that job. And like I said, it comes out, you can see the groove, it looks perfect. It just takes time when you're doing it by hand. This is Brother Chad with G.C.B. Gangster Custom Builds. Like and subscribe. Thank you.